couple of people have advice along the lines of, you don't have to prove that you didn't cheat. It's up to your sister to prove that you did. I wish the world worked like this. While yes, that is the most logical way for an issue like this to resolve itself, gossip and rumors do not work like that. People are far more likely to believe a lie that's like crazy than to believe the truth. That's like not so crazy. Many people echoed this, saying that generally people will be biased to the first story they hear, or the craziest story they hear. Of course, there are plenty of people in the world who will hear her claim and think it's a bunch of BS, but that would be a smaller portion of people. I'm not willing to leave my reputation standing with my friends and family in the hands of statistics. 5 hours after the original post, I video called my boyfriend, going to call him Ken in this post, last night after reading through your guys' comments and advice. Many of you suggested I get in front of this as to not let her direct the narrative, so that's what I tried to do. Tried is the key word here. Ooh. We chatted for a bit about normal stuff before I said we should talk about my sister's situation. Ken's facial expression visibly changed when I mentioned this. I asked what was up, and he said she had messaged him some pretty weird stuff earlier that day about her ex and me. For context, Ken knows that me and my sister have a pretty complex relationship. He also knows me and the ex talked occasionally. He encouraged all four of us to hang sometimes, but this only happened a few times and stopped once he left for his year abroad. I asked Ken what he had been told, and he said, paraphrase from memory as I do not know how to use a stenotype, I got a text from her while I was out saying she needed to talk to me about our relationship. So she didn't even give you time to like tell him first? Or would it like, the hypothetical cheating? She said our relationship was doomed because she caught you cheating with her fiance and you didn't even try to defend yourself. You kept focusing on irrelevant details when it was clear you two were in a hotel together in Singapore. I know you and your sister don't get along, but I never got the impression you two hated each other enough for her to lie about cheating. So I don't know where to go from here. I was floored. As I mentioned in a comment on a previous post, Ken is similar to me in that he puts logical reasoning before extremes. He asked me if I had anything to say about it. I gave him the rundown from my POV in chronological order, stating from when I was booking the holiday back in August of 2025. I backed all of this up with receipts, screen shares of my bank statements from any relevant times, and photos with timestamps from nights out with friends. Somebody suggested in the last post that I have as many receipts as possible, since it helps build a routine and picture of your day for people, since almost everything costs money these days, so you can track your movement. I did this before I called and made sure I had everything I might need to hand. I also got a few of my friends on text saying they know I was waking up in my own hotel room since they had to call through the hotel reception to wake me up a few times. The whole thing took 45 minutes, of which he stayed relatively silent aside from an occasional question to make sure he was understanding all the links I was drawing up. By the end of it, I was on the brink of tears, mostly because it took saying it all out loud to realize how f***ed up the whole guilty until proven innocent thing is. Ken bluntly asked if I had cheated, to which I said no, never. He took a minute, said he trusted me, which was a huge weight off my shoulders. He asked, what could have made my sister think I cheated? And I said, I don't know, but she was hurt and looking for someone to pin the blame on so she could vent her anger on someone. He said that made sense, but didn't understand how she drew these conclusions or how she pieced this together from a single hotel name drop. I asked what he meant, and he said there's at least 3 Shangri-La hotels or apartment blocks in Singapore. And he didn't understand how she knew I stayed in the exact same hotel. I didn't really have the answer to that. I didn't have a copy of the bank statement and didn't note down the exact recipient from the statement she waved in my face. I also said she could still argue I visited his room or visited mine, which ended that speculation. I offered to ask to see the bank statement again, but he shut me down and said he would ask since she doesn't know we've spoken yet. He messaged her last night and she apparently responded saying she would send them to him in the morning, which should have been before this update was written, but I haven't heard anything from him, so I suspect that hasn't happened. The rest of the call was a lot of questions, not a lot of definite answers. He appreciates that I spoke to him about it and stayed calm instead of spiraling, as it helped him stay calm about it too. I sent him the post I made to ask if he was okay with me updating with our conversation, which he said it was fine, and he would like to see what people have to say. I slept pretty well after that. Next update.